everyone. I am Jennifer Duhon, registered dietitian and FCS regional coordinator for the Central Region. Today we're going to bring a recipe that's really fun and a timeless classic, but put a little bit of healthy spin on it. So we're going to be doing sugar-free candied pecans. What you will need is some type of granulated sugar substitute. Now these two types of sugar substitutes have absolutely 0 calories, 0 carbs. What I like to do is mix them. So we're going to be using a sugar-free granulated white substitute as well as a granulated sugar-free brown sugar substitute. And I'll kind of talk about those a little bit more of how to proportion them whenever we get a little bit deeper into the recipe. You're also going to need water, vanilla extract, cinnamon, and of course our beautiful pecans. Now pecans can be part of a healthy diet. Nuts are known to help lower your bad cholesterol and actually increase your good cholesterol. They're also an unsaturated fat, and they're high in protein, fiber, and vitamins A and E. So they can be part of a heart-healthy diet as well as to possibly help prevent type 2 diabetes. So be sure to enjoy those pecans, especially with this healthier recipe that we're going to do today. So for this recipe, it calls for 1.5 cups of granulated sugar-free sweetener. And as I mentioned, what we did was we used both a mix of the white and the brown sugar. So here we did 1 cup of the white and then 1/2 cup of that brown granulated sugar. So to start this recipe, you're only going to use half of this granulated sugar mixture here. And we're going to reserve the other half for our end product. So to this sugar mixture, you're going to add 1/4 cup of water, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And we're going to somewhat cook this down to where we can come up with a glaze for our pecans. And remember, both of these types of sugars are going to be sugar-free. So this will not add any calories or carbohydrates to your recipe. So once your glaze starts to come to a little simmer and it's melted completely, you're going to add your 3 cups of pecans. And continue to stir that about 2 to 3 minutes so that we are covering all of our pecans. So nuts are actually part of the protein group of my plate, and it's recommended that we have 1 ounce serving of nuts about 5 times a week to have those protective heart properties. As I mentioned before, they're high in protein and fiber, so they can actually help keep you full longer. So this is a great add, especially to your breakfast menu. Not necessarily these sugar-free candied pecans, but adding nuts to your breakfast cereals or to a smoothie will help add some of that protein and fiber, again, to keep you fuller longer throughout the day. Now once you've allowed this to cook about 2 to 3 minutes and all of your pecans are going to be coated, we're going to take this off the fire. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 tablespoon of cinnamon to that leftover sugar mixture and give that a good stir. Again, we're going to allow these to cool just a bit so that once we toss it with that sugar mixture, we don't cause it to melt further. So this is a really quick recipe. From start to finish, you're looking at about 10 to 12 minutes total. So now that our pecans have somewhat cooled, we're going to transfer them back into our glass dish. I mean, this looks good already, but adding just a little bit more of that crystallized sugar is going to really give it that flavor and that texture that you're used to. And we're going to add the rest of our sugar crystals. Give that a toss. And as you see, as it starts to cool, it hardens somewhat like your regular candied pecans. But again, not with all of the added calories or sugar, so this is definitely a diabetic-friendly recipe. This calls for 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, and you can really smell that. This smells just like the holidays. So once you give that a good toss, we're going to transfer it to a pan just to separate them out. So pecans are a nutritionally and calorically dense nut. So we're looking at about 140 calories per serving here, and that's mainly from your nuts. Again, you're not going to get any calories from your sugar since this is a sugar-free substitute that we're using. But snacking on this, we're talking about 10 to 12 nuts as a serving to make up for that 140 calories. So again, this is going to be a recipe that you can share with your family and friends. It's going to be a timeless classic recipe, but you're going to save on calories, carbohydrate, and sugar. So enjoy these for the holiday.